100 years ago, Eastman Kodak here in the United States developed this Vest Pocket Series 3 camera for soldiers to take it to war. Let's find out more about it. Hello everyone, Carmine from New York here. This is photo class number 607. Subscribe, comment below, and thumbs up. Okay, let's jump into it. I picked up this little Kodak Vest Pocket Series 3 film camera for about $5 because, as you can see, the leather on the back came off. And the seller said, well, sell it as is, $5. It was $5 shipping. That was a steal. Because when I saw it, I said, oh, what a great restoration project. Well, I was very surprised when it showed up because, first of all, the most important thing, the bellows was completely intact. It's 100 years old. The test that I gave it is the standard Bellows light leak test. It's very, very simple. You take the back off. This is not just for this camera, but for any Bellows camera. You take off the back, and if I can find my torch, as they call it in the UK, take your flashlight. Okay, so in a dark room, this would be the only light in the room. You put your eye up to the back of the camera and you take the flashlight or torch and you go back and forth all around the bellows, looking only in here. Make sure you don't get the flashlight in your eye. And you go back and forth and you check it for light leaks. Well, this camera, this $5 camera, passed with flying colors. So that was step number one. Step number two was to see, does it focus freely? Now, focusing with this camera, let me put the back on. Okay, so it just goes on like this. You catch it on the bottom, and you close it up like this, and you give it a snap, and you're all done. Okay, so focusing, I'll put a close-up photograph of this now. There's a little scale here. And you grab these two little latches, you squeeze them, and you move the bellows back and forth like this until it reaches the number here that you want. How many feet away? 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, and it also has meters next to it. Okay, so the focusing was fine. A lot of these, the little catch, this little squeeze thumb latches here, sometimes they just won't grip and the bellows will pull it back in, but this one works fine. So that was step number two, I guess. Now the aperture opens and closes quite freely, and you move it like this. Okay, you open and close the aperture with this. Now this lens is very cool. It's an 83 millimeter Kodak lens made in America. The camera was made in America. 83 millimeter lens. It's an f6.3 lens. But it closes down to f32. That's pretty cool. Now, you get these shutter speeds. The shutter speeds, I'll put a close-up photo up. The shutter speed dial is up here, and you just rotate it. You just rotate the shutter speed dial. Here are your choices for shutter speed. You get B, bulb, T, time, 1/10 of a second, 1 1/25th of a second, 1/50th of a second, and 1/100th of a second. Now, since we're talking about shutter speed, right, you guys might be thinking, well, ISO. Well, back in the day, ISO was called ASA. That was the film speed. Now, this takes 1/27 size film, okay? Let me just show you. It's roll film. It takes 1/27 size film. It's like 120 medium format film, but it won't. 120 film will not work in this camera. Only 1/27 size film will work in this camera. Okay, so here is the take-up spool right here. Okay, you see it turning? Okay, so that's the spool right here. It's been in here for 100 years, the take-up spool, right? So you would load your fresh roll of film in here, drag it across. This would be the size of your negative. On a 127 roll of film, you would get 8 exposures, right? So they would develop, when you sent it out, or did it yourself back in the day, people did 100 years ago, they would take the negative and place it on top of photographic paper, shine a light on it, nothing special. Just shine a light on it like a light bulb, quickly on and off. It was very, very archaic, but it worked. Later on, there were light boxes, which did it more professionally. And they would develop the paper, and they would trim it, and that would be the size of your photograph. They would make, it's called a contact print, where the negative contacts the photographic paper, exposes it, they'd cut it out, and that would be your picture. Now, I have not taken photographs with this camera yet, but you want to know who did? World War I soldiers. Let's look at a few of them right now. All right, we're back. Okay, so let me put the back on. This is all metal, by the way. Everything is metal. No plastic back in 1926. It clicks. Okay, and there's the red window where you would see, as you advance your film, you would see the next exposure would be next. You number 1, and then you wind it. Number 2. It was very, 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 that's 3 varies, common back in the day to have double exposures, triple exposures, because folks would forget to advance the film. There was no protection against double exposure. So, okay, the shutter, you would cock it here, okay, and now it's set at, let's see, it's set at 1/100th of a second, and you take the picture here. Listen, that's 1/100th of a second. Okay. Now, what about the viewfinder? Well, it's right here. You would look in here, and there was a little mirror, and you look at here. So the image would go in this viewfinder window and shine up here, so you can take the picture looking down, making sure you're framed right. Okay. But that's for vertical. What if you wanted to take a landscape style? Well, this camera was very advanced. You can actually take the viewfinder and move it this way. So now you can look down, right? You look down into here, little mirror shines out this way, and now you can take your landscape photographs. Very cool. Now, along those notes, this is a tripod screw for your portrait orientation photographs. But Kodak knew some people might want to take landscape ratio photographs. So there's a tripod on the bottom for landscape work. You put the tripod into that screw there, and now you're all set for landscape work on a tripod. Okay. So this camera, right, it does have issues, only cosmetic. The leather, right, is coming off, right? It's coming off over here, right? It's completely missing from the back over here. Now, remember, this is called a Vest Pocket Camera. Most likely, due to years of using this in the vest, and body heat and sweat probably made the back leather loose, and it was just peeled away. Okay, so will I restore it? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to restore it. You know, sometimes restored cameras lose their value because they were touched, right? So I don't know if I will. So now you would say, oh, how's that going to fit into your vest pocket? Okay, so you make sure here that you fold up the viewfinder. You squeeze the two little latches here and here, right? You squeeze them and you push the bellows right back in, okay? So now that's it. Now, how do you close this, right? So remember, didn't come with an instruction book. So what you do to close this panel, right? These two arms here and here. There's a little groove here. There's a little groove here and a little groove here. You take your fingers and you push them in. And that releases a little lock. And it closes, and listen to the click. And that's the click. You lower this leg. Now this leg is very important. Number one, it gives you something to hold on to when you're pulling it out. There's a little lock here. You open the lock, and now you pull this out. Now that stays locked. You pull out your lens, right? You grab the two thumb squeezers, I'll call them, and you pull out your bellows. So getting back to light leaks in bellows, I've repaired many bellows cameras, especially my Mamiya RB67. I have a whole video on how I repaired it. But let's say you wanted to do more than just put this on your shelf. Let's say you actually wanted to use this camera. Number one, can you still buy film for this camera? The answer is yes. Yes, you can still buy 127 film, fresh, not expired film. I'll put a picture up here where I found it. So that's number one. You can find the film for this camera. Next, what if I did find a light leak or a small tear in the bellows? This is how you fix it. It's very simple. I will put a link to how I repaired the camera, my RB67. I'll put a link in the description. This is GB, stands for Gardner Bender brand, liquid tape. Liquid tape. They're not a sponsor. Hardware stores don't sponsor me. All right. So what this is a liquid. I don't want to open it because it's messy. Picture black pudding. Okay. You open this up. It's very thick. It's viscous. You take a clean, new, small painter's brush like this. You dip it in. You wipe it off. And then, let's say there was a pinhole right here. You take the black liquid tape, and you just dab it, right? You brush it. Now, here's how you do it. You put it on, you let it dry overnight, leaving it open. This is open, the bellows are open. You have to do it 3, 4, 5 times. This is not a quick project. Each time you do it, the hole, the pinhole, the tear, the rip gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, this is liquid tape. It remains flexible when it's dry forever. It's basically liquid rubber, okay? Once you have fixed all of your light leaks, you let it dry like this. I let it dry for 2 weeks on a shelf Just leave it alone. Let it set. Let it set. Because if you do it, if you apply the liquid tape and then you close it up like that, you squish it and you lock it up and you put this away, you may not be able to open the bellows ever again without completely tearing them apart. Drying time is the most important part. Okay? This costs a few dollars. A few dollars. What's a few dollars? I don't know, under 10 bucks. So this camera was manufactured in America by Kodak from 1926, happy birthday, it's 100 years old, to 1934. This is the part I find very interesting, value. What did I pay for mine? I paid $10 with shipping because the person said, well, it's all yucky. The back is all peeled off. So I got a good bargain, okay? But they're still on sale for around that price, like $10 to $20, okay? That's number one. What did they sell for new in 1926? They sold for $6 to $10. Brand new in the box at a camera store. Now, what is $6 from 1926 worth today? Has a value of $113. So when you bought this camera, it hurt you as much as $113 would hurt you today. Okay. Here's what's interesting. This camera was made by Kodak in multiple different colors. This is the brown version. This is brown leather. Okay. They also made it in green, red, blue, and gray. Here's the cool fact. If you find one in a color other than brown, they're worth $400 as a shelf sitter. Doesn't even have to work. So when you're at a garage sale, tag sale, flea market, whatever you guys call them in your country, and you see one of these and they're other than brown, grab it in any condition because they're worth around $400 or 400 euros. The last thing I want to talk about is marketing. When Kodak made these, they marketed them towards families of soldiers who were going away. This has been Carmine from New York saying, pick one up and subscribe.